Alright guys, I forget even which cut this is. What I did this time is I did some work to that swirl ramp. See how that's leaned over quite a bit? Now I did move it, but I didn't move it a huge amount because I wanted to see if there would be incremental gains. What I'm hoping for is, because the short side gets a little wider, right? That'll counteract our swirl a little bit, and it'll flow a little easier because we had high-speed air on that side. So, as far as our liquid, it's wide, it's got splatters, it hits that chamber, it goes right across, it gets sucked down the exhaust and the overlap, it goes all the way to the other side. Let's see what that exhaust valve looks like. I should have taken a look at this before I pulled it apart, but that's what the liquid looks like right across the exhaust valve. Okay, we've got about the widest path of liquid across the valve I've seen to date. Literally, it goes from all the way over here to all the way over here. I would think that would be good. I mean, we have liquid all the way over to here on the seat. Right? Now, of course, our dicam is much heavier than fuel, so if you do good with the dicam, I think you'll do excellent with the fuel. Just my opinion, which means nothing. Okay, our liquid does look a little bit different. Not necessarily better or worse. I'm gonna speculate and say it's not quite as good as the last time. But if we have an increase in airflow, it may be worth it. So let's see how this video develops. Okay, that's where your short side is operating at now. You can see I did put a very fast polish on it. You can see on the left side it's been brought over quite a bit. I did try to sonic that swirl vane. Looks like it's got a lot of cast iron on it. I will probably push my luck on that until we break through, because that's what this head is for. And if we keep getting flow gains, that's where we're going to be doing a lot of work to this little short side here and getting what we can across the short side, because we have more swirl than we need as far as I'm concerned. You can give me your opinion on that, guys. Okay, you can see I haven't gone crazy on this bowl yet. There's still some spots that haven't even been touched. On that bolt boss that comes through, that has had some metal removed, but there's still 100 thousandths of metal there that can come off before I even break through. But I'm not worrying about that right now, because the air speeds are higher on the other side of that roof. So I'm working on the higher speeds first. This bowl did get thin right about here. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's got a very nice, generous radius out. And you're going to have to keep that. If you put a big valve in this, it's not necessarily detrimental. I mean, I know a lot of guys bring it almost all the way out to the 60 and run it straight up. These, you'd have to put more of an angle on this wall and flare it out. This side looks like there's more metal that can come straighter out, and the short side looks like there's a lot of metal. Looks like that can come straighter out. But in between the valves here, you know, this is solid, and then it gets hollow. And we're down to about 100 thousandths in one spot, which isn't bad. It's usable. Remember, this is going to be for a drag race engine. I'm not afraid to push them to 100 on a drag race engine, even though there's an exhaust port on the other side. Okay, the exhaust bowl got a little bit of work. I did make it. I took some metal out of both sides of the bowl and the port all the way out. Let's take a look. Okay, you can still see a little bit of the paste ooze line on both sides, but it was made quite a bit wider. it's still very, very thick, and we can get probably a lot more out of this exhaust if we need it. At the end of the video, if you don't like where the exhaust is, you let me know. We'll do some more work to that. Remember, it's going to be, we're going to try to get some RPM out of this thing, because we have to get 9-second quarter mile is not going to be easy with these heads, so we need every advantage we can get. Okay, this is our fourth cut, which is the cracked head. It's got a wider short side radius with a slight polish, and the exhaust port is widened. So, these pluses and minuses are in reference to our last cut. How'd we do? Well, according to this, it seems to have liked it, and it seems to have liked it a lot. I mean, take a look at 600. We went from 228 to 245. That is a huge jump with such a small mod. Huge. And it works from all the way down low, all the way up. Take a look at 300, how much we gained. 184 to 193.5, almost 10 at 300. You guys need to calculate how much power we can make out of this with a decent size hot cam. Of course, you'll need the exhaust flows, but we'll get into that in a minute. Take a look at our swirl. Now, what did I say? I said if we put more across the short side, it would reduce our swirl. So what do we got? Looks like I was pretty close to being right on that, right? Okay, let's take a look at our airspeeds for the intake port. Okay, airspeeds. Third cut. Fourth cut. Notice the pinch started to come alive, right? Quite a bit more action on the top of the pinch. Still not over 300. It's not holding us back. Remember, all I did was round that side and take some metal out of it. I have not taken anything out of the divided wall between the two ports yet. So we could get bigger on that. But you have to remember, these are already start out as relatively big openings. They're really like a 205 medium race port gasket size, which is fine, because if we use the big bow tie, that works out really well. We may even go to a 206. I don't know. Maybe. We'll think. All right, take a look at center of the cylinder here. Center of the cylinder dropped speed because we're getting more across that short side, right? The other side of the roof stayed exactly the same. As far as, I'm sorry, yeah, right, I'm not, okay. These stayed almost exactly the same, went up one number, and this went up a little bit more, went from 340 to 358, okay? Overall, these speeds really didn't change a whole lot for the amount of flow we increased. So it's happier where it is. So what I will probably do is, I think I'm going to do the exact same thing, but get into it a little bit more. I think there's probably a little bit more left in removing more of that ramp and extending that short side. I do have to get in there with the Sonic and take a really good look before I do it, but I think there's a lot of metal there. So if I can move that over some more, I will. Now let's take a look at our exhaust. Okay, third cut, fourth cut. These pluses and minuses are in reference to this. I goofed over here. I forgot to do these two higher ones, but I did them over here. How'd we do? All pluses, but it doesn't keep going up, so it could use some more work. Okay? We top out at 180.3 with an 1 5/8 pipe. We go 188. We're 198.4 with an 1 7/8 pipe. In reality, we could probably get it done where it is if I can bring the intake port up a little more. Give me your opinion on that, guys. Now let's check our airspeeds. Remember, this is a bigger port, so the gains that it gets are not really huge gains. So you need to think about that. Okay, these are third cut airspeeds. These are fourth cut airspeeds. So these pluses and minuses are in reference to these. How do we do? Plus, 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 minus, plus, 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 plus. It looks happier. How is it from side to side? Not bad. Not bad. These are like actually opposite, right? And side to side on the floor is really good. Still pretty much dead in the middle here. Okay, very, very even. Tough to get a measurement. But it's using the whole rest of that port really well. What is the next game plan for this? Well, I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to use the Sonic and see if I can see what to do. I think I may raise the roof a touch. Well, there's plenty of metal on those. I could probably raise them 100,000s, which is probably in the cards for this build. I may Sonic the roof and see what we can do on the roof. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, guys. Give me your input on this project, how we're heading, how we're doing, and thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.